So the big question is this. How entrepreneurs like us who have been breaking with old beliefs, like the idea of holding a 9-to-5 job and living paycheck to paycheck, taking a lifetime to reach business and life success as the only option we have? How do we grow our business in a way that lets us highly service our customers, getting our products and services and the things that we believe in out into the world without diluting our life but enhancing it and taking the journey of internal and external growth? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. Your host is Marina Simon, and welcome to 10 Exit. Life and business as usual? Never again.
Well, I'm very happy to be with you. I want to thank you for being in my, in my journeys and adventures. You have been with me. And today, I want to address something that has, hit kind of my life recently. And it's the fact that, a couple of people near to my heart have been going through experiences that are not easy to handle, confront, or, go through, right? That doesn't mean it's impossible, and that doesn't mean that we cannot just confront and push through life, right? But I want to give you some jewel that for me became a huge difference in the way I operate in life or I tackle life, right? Truly. It just makes a huge difference. I'll give you a little backstory. So the following principle is life is not against you. Life is for you. And what do I mean for that? Marina, okay, that sounds really nice, really, really neat, Latin-wise. But what does that mean? Right? So life is for you. Okay, so I'll tell you a little story. When I was around 17, my father kicked me out of the house. I was a Mexican living in Mexico. Many of you, if you know the Latin culture, women stay longer at home, right? They're protected. Kids, don't go early out except, when they're ready either to go to the university or to get married or, things like that. Normally, you will stay longer, right? But my dad kicked me out of the house. I was 17 and I was the only child, right? Now, I'm going to tell you the backstory from that. I used to be a brat, really, little criminal with my parents. What do I mean by that? I had everything that you could want as a kid. Right? If I say, I want the latest toy, I had it before I end up the sentence, right? I want to go to the United States to buy new, amazing clothing. My father will take me there. My mother was a little bit more ethical with me because she put me limits because it was just too much. The only thing I had to do, guys, was do my bed, eat my breakfast and my meals that were served to me, and keep my room clean, right? Don't leave my clothes all over the place, etc., right? And be nice to my parents. Have manners with them. Love them, right? So no, that wasn't the case. I was a brat. I was misbehaved. I wasn't sweet with especially my mother, right? I was a little brat and I had everything, right? No exchange. If I went into a trip for a summer school, I wouldn't bring one clip to my parents after they pay for everything and I buy so much stuff, quotation marks, right? For myself, of course. If I buy candy and clothes, I wouldn't bring anything back. So whatever, the time went through, right? And one day, my father got, tired of me. I had started in the university. I was a brat. I had a condominium in Mexico City because we used to live in the outsides, like an hour, 2 hours away. And so he paid for that, right? And I had a car, right? And all of a sudden, I just went, quote unquote, overwhelmed with the university, and I decided I wanted out. right? So I thought, well, I can come back to my hometown, right? And then live with my mom and dad and then figure it out. No, that wasn't the case. My dad said, you have 1 week to get out of the house. And I'm like, what? I can't hear that pretty well. My little ears are not getting what you're saying. And short story, he really meant it. He took me out. My mother, I remember crying in the door. Please don't do that. She was begging to my father because he was a girl. Girls don't go out. Boys may, but girls no, right? They might lose their virginity, God forbid, right? But that was kind of like the idea. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? So, I did many things. I went and lived with some family members. I had an awful experience. I went and rent a room. One time, I arrived just a little bit late. It was an older lady. I arrived instead of 8 o'clock in the night, I arrived at 9 because I went to the movies with a group of friends. And she locked me out. And I'm like, holy, where am I going to sleep? So I end up sleeping in the street inside my car. So all these adventures came through me, right? What I'm trying to tell you, life became a little bit more interesting. Let's just reach my hand and have everything, right? And I thought my dad was mean. He cut off all the economics, right? I had to knock out at my university and say, hey, listen, guys, I want to come back. I don't have money, but I promise you to be a good student, right? And then all of a sudden I got a job, in the government. It was fun with a group of kids. And what I realized, and I hated my father for 5 years, right? How can he do that to me? He had the money, right? I'm his only daughter here. So, but what I realized, and I see it now with the kids of my friends, right? Life is for you. What happened after that, it was incredible, right? I really realized I was an able being and I can do anything I put my head on, right? Anything. I thought I could never go back to this, top-notch university, best university in Mexico City, right? And I did it. Right? They opened the door. I came in, study. I found this amazing job, guys. I used to work almost directly with the president and the ministers. I mean, it was just, I was having a life. I was paying for my own trips to the United States because I used to live in Mexico. We'll go with friends, go shopping, go have fun. I was very, very ethical in the sense I wasn't just partying around and doing this. I was very, very disciplined. One thing that kept me really, really in tune with myself and just doing the right decisions was that I always did sports. So when you do sports, you can go drinking, you can go partying, you can go doing this and that. Plus, I had to wake up early to go to the university early morning, right? So I will go, I remember I used to wake up at 4 a.m, go running 5 to 6, then 6, I forgot. Then I will go and swim for 40 minutes. Then I will run into the university for class 7:30. I was 6 to 7. Then class in the university 7 to 10. And then I will run to work. And then at night I will run back to the university. So I'm just giving you a crazy part of my life, right? Because what I realize, life is really for you. Many of we have two options. When you have a very rough experience, either you take it with you to thrive up, or you use it as a big fat justification what you fail in life or in different activities of life. And I've seen that again and again within myself, because I've done both, right? And within others around me. Recently, and that's why I came up on all these podcasts today, a very close friend of mine, he's an outstanding nutritionist. He lives in Latin America, and he is so good, guys. He has almost himself self-made, right? He's a chef, and he's a CrossFitter, right? So he has handled myself and other of my friends amazingly, handling, things of their bodies or pains and aches and just with food, right? But he's very, very good. Recently, he lost his mother. He's lost his partner. He has had a couple of things going on, right? But all of a sudden, new opportunities tend to come his way, right? And now he's going to be operating across Latin America, doing what he does and being paid amazingly, handsomely, right? When he was just in Costa Rica and just doing, client at a time. So my point is, life is not against you, it's for you. Another example, I lost my father, right? I lost my father to suicide. It wasn't an easy thing to handle within myself and my family, right? I couldn't face it at that point. He was the love of my life in the sense that he was one of most beloved, like you love your parents, right? And, but that experience got me to do things I've never considered doing before. And I thrive with it, right? It took me a while. And I thrive. But I decided, you know what? This life is for me. The things that I'm taking on, even when they're painful, they're challenges and they're tests of the power of our own abilities and skills to create. And no matter what, keep on creating even stronger with those. You get that motion and you use it to do whatever you were intended or decided to serve, right? Now I give you another example. I went through a very heavy divorce. And it took me 7 years, guys, to get my head up. 7. I decided I was going to be the effect of life and not for life. So this victim pain, I guess all of us have been in those shoes, right? It hits you so badly, you become the victim of life and situations. It took me 7 years, guys. A thing that I could have handled within a year. Even less, months, maybe weeks if I was sane enough just to put my life together, right? So I just want to share this with you because during the last months, I've had friends of mine leaving us, right? I mean, dying. Some of others have had cancer and are struggling through it, and it hasn't been an easy cycle. Some of my friends, too, are thriving after cancer. Surviving. I have another friend of mine which went through cancer twice during the same year. And she pushed through, and now you see her. She doesn't say much, but I can see she's deciding to live life again, anew and stronger and more creative. So these are just examples to tell you it did change my life when I start to realize I had an option. Either I thrive with that pain and that roughness and become tougher, or I succumb and make it the why, the justification why I fail in life, or why I'm not succeeding or doing my dreams, or why am I not as successful as others, or just life has victimized me, right? Or become a victim of your environment, right? And I'm telling you right now, because we are living the same thing. We live in this blue ball named Earth, right? We're going through all these cycles with COVID, political issues, economic issues, and you name it. I don't want to go there. But my point is, you can even choose to be victimized by those actions of others or what's happening in your environment, or decide to use that as emotion and change lives and really look for your purpose in life. What were you born or decided to do? Who do you decide to serve, right? And then go for it with all your passion, mighty, and being, because one person can and have changed the world. You've seen it many times around, right? In technology, you have Steve Jobs, in health, in different areas, right? In mental abilities. One individual can change lives of the planet. So that just gave me a very powerful tool to use to see how do I live life. One last thing I want to mention. Besides changing my viewpoint, also be aware of who you surround yourself with. Are they dragging you down, or are they pulling you up? Right? Are they survival for you, or are they detrimental for you? And that doesn't take too much thinking, just looking. What is that individual doing? What happened to me when I get together with that person? Am I happy, or am I so depressed, or I don't know what's wrong with me? I just feel uncomfortable. What am I, I am this, I'm that, just get introverted on yourself. So watch who do you hang up with, and make sure you clean your lines of those beings, because the least you need is that down. If they want your help, of course you give it to them. But if they don't want it and they're just dragging you down for the fun of it, guys, you have the ability and your personal decision to have or not have a person in your life. And that's up to you to make, but that will cleanse your environment and you feel lighter to thrive. I want to tell you a little, just to close this episode. Sorry, it's getting too long. I was one of these mornings, right? I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, so I go to CrossFit at 5 o'clock, 5 to 6, right? 4:30 in the morning, there's nobody in the streets. So I race. Incorrectly, I race, right? Nobody, boom, 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 And all of a sudden, and I didn't wear my belt, my security belt, right? Which you should wear, because besides being the law, it protects you, right? So at 9, I went out again in my car, and I didn't do a full stop. I did a partial stop and then continue. All of a sudden, I see a blue red light behind me, and I'm saying, oh my God, this is the bomb. So I was so frustrated within myself, right? So the gentleman comes in. There were 2 policemen, one on the left, one on the right, right? And they're standing, and I'm like, okay, I'm not that big. But okay, I grant them importance, and, yes, sir, right? Well, do you know why we stopped you? And I say, yes, sir. I did a partial stop. I should have done a full stop. A stop means a stop, right? There's one definition of stop. And he said, yeah, that's correct. So give me your driver's license. So I did, right? They went on the back, and I start seeing how they nowadays they have this electronic machine to do you the ticket, right? And I'm like, no, please don't do that. It's like December. I really don't need and want to pay a ticket. And I was so upset. I'm like, this is ridiculous within myself, right? And I'm thinking all these things. And all of a sudden, I realize, I'm like, no. Stop, Marina. This you created. It's not that this life just throw it to you. You create that. And you were racing in the morning, and it's not the first morning I'm racing, no seatbelt, right? And here is the policeman stopping me because I did one more violation, right? But I thought, no, I need to change the way I operate, right? And all of a sudden, as I changed my viewpoint, all my anger just cooled off like ice. I couldn't believe it, guys. My space just went whoom. Right? I took the right viewpoint of responsibility. Hey, these guys are doing their jobs, right? I am getting, nice little fishy for them because I am breaking the laws. So as soon as I changed my viewpoint, one of the policemen come into my car, and he said, you know what, ma'am? This time I'm just going to give you a warning. Guys, I couldn't believe it because normally I get tickets, right? And I just realized, life is not against me, it's for me. All right, have an outstanding day. Let's create one.
Thanks for joining us today on 10 Exit. Life and business as usual? Never again. We love always hearing from you. Please feel free to send Marina an email, marina@marinasimonbrand.com. Your input and comments are always welcome, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And if you like the podcast, you can always subscribe to it. Remember, the best way to predict the future is to create it.